Hey y'all, welcome to the heart of the podcast. I'm Mel.
I'm the player formerly known as Kosi.
I'm Joseph.
George here.
We're MSTC.
Yes,
we're missing Nick today. Unfortunately, he's busy teaching the youth and learning more about what he can do to support them.
The future of America.
The future of America.
Future duelist of America.
Future duelists of America.
Yeah.
All right, so we wanted to talk. This week we wanted to talk a little bit about sort of our process and what we think about for getting cards and building up our decks. In a previous episode, we talked about sort of how we deck build and things like that, and so we wanted to talk about how we sort of get cards. I want to start with George. George, you haven't started in a while, so let's hear from you. How do you get cards, and how do you feel about it? Like, what do you do to obtain them?
So I'm a boomer. I used to think that trading cards was cool, but
It's still
nobody-
it still is.
It's still very cool.
nobody trades cards anymore. Nobody trades cards because they need them. They trade cards based on value.
Yeah. That is really
I mean,
shit you ever wrote.
that's just adulting.
Yeah, I mean, yes, and I don't know, yes and no, because I remember when I first started playing the game, like people would be like, I need this card for my deck, and this is gonna make my deck better. So here, I'm gonna trade you this card. It's like, okay. Even if they took like I don't want to say L, right? Because at that point, it's like, I need this card for my deck, and it's gonna make me better than you. So it didn't really matter. And also, there's like TCG player. What
You made
right.
you made that seemingly honest thing very dishonest. Like, let's trade for the heart of the cards so my deck can be better than your deck.
Yugi wouldn't do that.
No,
Well-
he would never.
Well,
I know what you mean though.
I'd beat the shit out of Yugi in a duel, but that's
That's a topic for another day.
that's a topic for another day. But how do I get my cards now? So sometimes I just watch people play and then I just swipe their card. No, I'm just kidding. I have to buy them off of TCG Player or eBay, wherever I can get the better deal. Honestly, like I bid for like 3 forbidden droplets. Oh God, we're just gonna hate me for this. I bid for 3 forbidden droplets like back in like end of December, early January. I got 1 for Christmas, and then 2. I think I must have like paid like 70 or $80 a pop. Which is which hindsight, it's a lot. It's really good now because they're upwards of like $120, and
It's amazing.
I almost didn't like pull the trigger on it, but I mean, that's how I get my cards now, honestly. Like I have to either sell the cards that I'll never use and use that to buy my cards, or just buy them. Oh wait, no, I'm a liar. I'll buy booster packs.
You do, yeah.
Oh my God,
Sealed product.
I buy sealed product.
Nah, we love sealed product.
Yeah, we do.
Shout out
Do
to
we?
Sealed product.
Yes,
Do
we
we?
do. We love
I love sealed product.
You
we
do.
love sealed
You buy-
product.
I have the worst luck at sealed product, but
Konami, I buy cases frequently.
Yes, we actually do buy cases frequently.
get so much
would
stuff
be
from you guys,
really-
Konami.
It would be really unfortunate if cases happen to just appear in front of my house.
yeah,
Just so
Konami,
you-
don't
just so
do
you
that.
know
We
what I mean?
don't want you to
It
send
would
us free
be
stuff.
Really bad.
Don't send us free
We
stuff,
would just have
Konami.
to open it and keep it.
Open
fair.
it, put it on YouTube and
Yeah,
give it
but we
away.
don't want that, so don't do it.
Nice little sponsored by Konami
Yeah.
panel that we see.
Anyway,
Joseph, how do you
get
go about
cards,
this
Joseph?
process?
You
So
make 'em?
Nice.
you make orcas and then use them in
Well,
tournaments.
I do like drawing. I'll have to toot my own horn, but I made the icon.
A hand drawn.
Oh, he did make the icon. He is
Hey.
he is legendary.
I
That's
am
beautiful.
genius.
Mhm.
A little more praise, please.
You did a great job.
Yeah,
we really
thanks.
like it.
All right, keep
Anyway.
talking, bro. Go on.
So the
Comment
way
if you like the logo.
I would love to live in a world where we could trade cards. Like I would give you my Quillbolt Hedgehog and you give me a Forbidden Droplet. That would be amazing. Or the other way around. Like I would like to be in a place where it really wouldn't be a big of a deal.
But what George said is very accurate. Like, we trade for value nowadays.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Because I'm not about to go give somebody $100 for a $2 card. It's just the reality of it as an adult. As a kid, we didn't have, at least I didn't have readily available the internet, nor could I check prices.
Mm-hmm.
So I got sharked a lot, probably. I was that kid that you wanted to go trade with. Because
wait,
I
were you
didn't
that
know-
kid that gave me that one card?
did you take my yeah. But for me now, getting cards is just purchasing. Like just purchase. Because one, it's faster and more reliable of getting the card instead of me going to gamer stores and be like, yo, who's got Exodia left leg? Anybody?
Yo, who has a PSA 10 left leg of Exodia?
Exactly. So instead, now online has made that so much easier, and me just spending a couple bucks on it and just for shipping, and then that's it. Like that's
How much is a couple of bucks to you though?
Let's not get there.
Interesting. I think that when I'm looking for like if I'm starting to build a new deck, I will look to see if especially for newer sets, I think about I'll like buy like a box or help and set up a case for that, buy with a couple friends, and then see how much of it I can pull, and then based on that go to other people and see, okay, what are they missing. One of the things I think is really cool about trading is you can trade there. People assign value to different things. So like a thing that happened recently, I pulled a CR Rite of Artemisia, which I already had a play set of Rite. I'm not like I don't care about max rarity to me is like secret rare, and for some things like whatever the highest rarity is that's not outrageously expensive to get. But I took it to our local Gamer's Choice, and I was like, I want to
shout out to Gamer's Choice.
Shout out to Gamer's Choice.
As always, shout out Gamer's Choice.
And I was like, okay, I play this. Like two things I was looking for is like I don't like that, I don't like Super Galtea, and I don't like Ultra Dingirsu. So what was nice is since I had that right, I traded them for an Ulti Dingirsu and an Ulti Galtea.
Oh, nice.
Which was nice because like I like it's things that I'm already using, and for me that's the value in trading is like people assign different values to things. Like I'll go to like locals and I'll bring a trade binder that has cards that like I won't care about. Like I had three malicious like the ultra rares, and they all I traded all of them for like stuff that I was looking for because people are like, oh, I need this, I would really like it. So I think that's one way to get cards, and then whatever you are actually missing, and especially for older sets because there's not readily available sealed product, the best thing I would say is TCG Player eBay to get the individual stuff. But I think for me, one of the big things that I focus on now is like getting things in bulk from similar sellers so that I can get sort of tracked packaging, because I think one of the worst feelings that you can get as a card player is I ordered this card and it's just gone. I don't know where it is because the post office has had that having issues. Like that. That's it's so
awful.
frustrating.
Yeah. If you ever want to get like really, really, really good packaged cards sent to you, just buy from us.
Yeah, buy from MSTC.
Just buy from us.
Our store on TCG Player. Kosi, how do you get cards for the deck that you play?
Man. Not even just for the deck I play, just in general. Because, like I said, MSTC store. I mean, I haven't posted on there in a while. I've been selling on Facebook and other stuff. But, how I get cards. Sheesh. So, when I first got into the game, it was strictly eBay because I wasn't versed on TCG Player. So, I mean, luckily, and eBay is still an amazing resource, but I got Ulti Terraforming for $60. I got an Ulti Dweller for $40. I got a Turbo Pack Upstart for $40. I got a Feral Servant IO for like $8. So I was running it up on eBay. First ed, yeah. Oof. But then I found TCG Player, and what I found was TCG Player had more quantities of every card readily available. Yeah. So those are good resources. And Facebook, actually. Facebook is king. I'm going to say it here. Facebook is king. I mean, my fear when buying on Facebook was the sketchiness. But once you just jump in the water, like don't jump in the water before you look. But once I'm luckily I have a lot of vendor friends who are really up there and do their thing, and shout outs to them. They know who they are. They help me learn the game. So I got in. And the thing about Facebook now too is because everyone knows about TCG Player, knows about eBay and the fees. So you sell on TCG, eBay, they're taking 14-15%, and you got to pay shipping on something over 20 or a certain amount. And then if it's plain white envelope, you got $1, all that stuff. When you buy on Facebook, people understand that cost they're going to accrue anyway. So you can go on Facebook and be like, bro, 70%, 80%, 85%. Not going to go higher than 85%. And that's actually probably the best resource, Facebook. It takes a while to understand who's trusted and understand how not to get juiced. But once you get past that and really dip your toe in, yeah, Facebook is it.
Yeah.
Although I can say, at least for me personally, I had a very recent experience where I was selling a bunch of cards, and the guy was looking through my binder, and he just picked out a bunch of cards. I'm like, sure, you're buying them. And I'm here looking up all the prices, lowest rated TCG player. And then I'm like, yo, I'm going to be giving you 80% and of lowest rated. He's like, how am I going to make money at 80? I'm only going to buy it at 50. I'm like, yo, what? I'm gonna be losing money. Like,
Yeah.
why do I care?
A good rule of thumb: don't go lower than 70.
No, not at all.
Only if that's when you're selling a lot of money cards or like the person.
Yeah, but then he told me, he's like, I'm a vendor. I'm like, well, what do I care?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, you're a vendor. Okay, I'm Jose. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
What?
Exactly.
No, that is something to think about when you're doing that. And I think for new players, I would say like one of the part of the reason that you pay for the TCG player fees is sort of that buyer guarantee.
Buyer protection.
They will protect you. And I think when you're first starting out, I think when you're trying to build a collection or trying to build deck build, you don't necessarily know what you're looking for yet. And so those places are really helpful to be able to get sort of your protection for like, if I'm going to buy this, I want to know that I'm going to get it, as opposed to having to wait and things like that.
And to piggyback off that too, I'm gonna say here first, fear. Just get past fear, right? So
It's just an emotion.
If you're going to qualify it, that fear is just not real. Fear is
fear is real.
Fear is not real. Tangent. When you sit down round 1 of a 7-round tournament and you feel nervous, just tell yourself, I'm not nervous, I'm excited, because it's the same feeling. But anyway, so I say that because even if you buy on TCG, buy on eBay, there's always that thought or that guarantee that it might not make it to you, which is
of course
oxymoron,
Yep.
So that same thing can apply to buying on Facebook.
Yes.
That same thing can apply, so get past. I say it because Mel said building collections and building decks. If you want to build a deck, TCG all the way. TCG, eBay if you're just starting out.
Yep.
But a big mistake I see people making is like, oh, I want to build a collection. Let me just buy a whole bunch of nonsense.
Yeah.
And it's nice, but if you have a plan and you're not scared of shit, just I say if you have, I think $600 is probably a good price point. Like buy staples and stuff, some left over.
Mm-hmm.
Buy your staples and then just buy someone else's collection at like 70, 80%. And then what you can do is,
I think the higher you're willing to spend, the lower the percentage that person is willing to sell it at.
yeah, exactly.
Because it's like anybody willing to sell their collection, it's like, I just want to offload it.
Yeah, exactly. So you buy their collection, which is why I'm just getting hip to this now for some odd reason, but just buy a collection. You someone opens their book and they see it's gooey or like gooey enough.
Yeah.
And like I said, the fear. So there is the learning curve of learning the value of your cards and how not to get juiced. But buy that collection. Someone opens your book and you don't know what you need yet. So don't just buy random stuff thinking you may need it.
Right.
And if that's your thought process, buy a collection, and then someone will open your book and then you're like, oh, I think I need this. And they see something in your book, and that's where the wholesomeness of trading comes into play. And you can start building your actual collection, and then you could just turn a paperclip to a couch and a couch to a house.
Yep. That too. Yeah. That analogy plays well. I think related to that also, I feel like there's this mentality of I have to get value for every single card that I have. And there are that happens to a fault, right? Like for me, one example is I like when sets come out, I'll generally take a look at once the set kind of dies down and there's juice prices, there are always cards in there that are way lower than they should be.
Right.
So I think about like when Eternity Code came out, Protoss was a $5 card at most.
Echo had so much value, but it wasn't noticed in it. Like Archosaur, Access Code, Protoss, Gearsu, and all those cards. Archosaur was like 70 at one point.
Yeah.
Access Code hit 140. Protoss was like $40 card or some shit. Like
Ryza.
Oh, Rise, the Mega Monarch,
All that's one thing that I really appreciate about the way that Yu-Gi-Oh is, and this is another topic for another day, but the fact that aside from the Forbidden list, every card is available means that at some point Konami will print a card that makes a card out of control.
Yeah,
really
yeah.
good.
That's
Like-
I bought it. Sorry to cut you off, but I bought Batch right now, and I'm huffing copium. But I think Batch might be might follow the same trend as Echo with the chimeras and the vampires and the jet dragons. Right now, everyone's just
Jet Dragon is definitely gonna be. It's always gonna be something.
yeah.
Good.
Everyone's
Blue Eyes cards, Dark Magician cards.
everyone's just gravitating towards Illusion because of Based, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I think that's all. There, like it's very easy to pick out sets that are like really strong. Like Rise of the Duelist was an incredibly strong set. Dimension or not Dimension, the one that just came out with Phoenix Enforcer. Burst had a lot of value because it had a lot of meta things. It's those in between sets that really help to pay
Secret Slayers.
Secret Slayers was different though because it came out of nowhere.
Yeah,
Like,
it was
nobody
wanted it.
Nobody wanted
until
it.
everybody wanted it.
Yep. And like granted, pandemic also juiced a lot of prices for some cards because it became very difficult to get them. But I think just paying attention to cards like that and recognizing that, especially for the powerful cards, there is a potential time limit with them. Like Protoss was like at one point like $30-$40. Now it's like $2 or $3 because it's banned. So it's like you have to pay attention to what's going on with those cards and what's going to happen.
Yeah, but I think we kind of gradually went from basics to this is more like higher level stuff. But like I said, just get rid of fear and open your laptop and just do some research, you know?
Related to something that you said, Kosi, and I think to kind of shift gears, you talked about don't buy just random stuff. And I think that's really important when you're thinking about deck building.
Or unless you're a vendor, you know?
Yeah, of course. If you're a vendor, like grab everything that you can. But with deck building, I think it's really important to like pay attention to what a deck does. And I think sort of one of the things, and I'll kind of start this topic. Cyber Dragons was the first deck that I got into, and there are a lot of different ways that you can play it with a lot of random text, a lot of quirks and things like that. So I was like, let me just get all of them because, you know, I can try them out and see which ones I want. And what ended up happening is none of them really stuck for me because I didn't play them consistently. And that felt really frustrating for me because I was like, you know, I spent a little bit of extra money to figure out all these different variants, and it became ultimately like a one-trick pony that I had to pay attention to. And I was like, if I don't get this, I don't know what else to do. So I think that's one of the things that I think about with deck building. But Joseph, what do you think about when you're thinking about deck building?
So when I'm thinking about deck building, I think there's a big stigma, and I think it's 50-50. Just you can net deck. Like there's no issue with grabbing someone's deck online and playing it card for card. The thing when it comes an issue, it's when you claim it as yours. Like, oh, this is my deck, I made it. No, just be clear about it. I mean, if you net deck a deck, like I'm currently trying to learn DDDs. I took it from pack and I just played it by myself over and over and over. And then over time, not over time, but like over testing it, I feel like I could make some changes. I could make some educated guesses to how I want to play the deck, and then just change it from there. Will it be better than somebody else's deck? No, but it's tailored to your fit and what you like the deck to do. So for me, learning it and like building a deck is based to my taste. Like some people even have a pet card. You know, like there's a card that they just love playing in every single deck. If you want to put Regeki in every single one of your decks, go for it. Like, no, it doesn't matter. It's your deck building. It's how you enjoy playing Yu-Gi-Oh.
Raigeki.
Upstart. Every deck.
Yeah, they're like Upstart.
Makes your deck it makes your deck one less card.
Yep. That'll be Upstart in every deck.
And then you lose because your opponent has 1,000 more life points and you couldn't kill them.
That's true.
I'm gonna play Upstart my next deck.
In the next one that's not Dino.
Not Dino, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Kosi, how do you, I mean, it's your perspective is also super interesting, Kosi, because you had, like, the rest of us play multiple decks, but you play the one deck. So is it like, do you feel like you have it figured out and like?
No, the thing about me playing the same deck for so long is the ratios of dinosaur cards are solved. So if you're playing dinosaur, you know, it's bread and butter, 3 OV, 3 dig, 1 misc. You
don't have an option for misc. I'm sorry, buddy.
You did.
I did, but yeah, I mean that's not changing. 3 OV, 3 dig, 1 misc. Those are not changing unless you are different, but not different in a bad way, but just like you know something that the rest of us don't. My approach, I think we mentioned in a previous episode, the Discord, or a different episode, the Discord Discord groups. When I felt like I hit a wall at one point, and I just went to the Discord, and they just that Discord glowed me up, man. I mean, first it was a Bujinki Amaterasu tech. Now it's a new tech I'm on that people see me on. I'm not gonna spoil it right now, but
yeah, I was actually gonna just put in a little quick comment on that. I don't think I've seen anything online, like on like videos or anything about the new tech that you're currently playing, and I think that's cool because no one's gonna really see that coming.
Yeah, and it's nice too because the Discord is so weird. Like they're not weird. Like hear me out. They'll come up with some crazy tech, and then they'll be like. They'll make the Bujinki, for example. Like they crafted the Bujinki. I just got in the Discord when I found out about it, and I literally I topped every tournament I went to with that Bujinki. And then I forgot where I found the Griffin. I think I might find the Griffin combo on Discord as well. But they'll make this stuff, and then they'll be like, okay, I'm gonna go back to making Dragoon. I'm gonna go back to and it's odd. It's like. I'm trying to find a good analogy. It's like you find the fountain of youth, and then you just walk away from it. Yeah, it's like
that. There's a little bit of something for everybody.
Yeah, and I'm grateful for it because the theory and this how we bounce off the stuff from each other, it works out. I'm gonna get to. I think I'm answering a question or deviating it one or the other, but
deviating.
Yeah, but yeah, one or the other. But the current tech, like it's nice because I didn't really help. Create it. I was there when it was incepted or when it was kind of optimized, still not optimized, but when I think I'm the one most testing it, right? Because they made it and then they just put it on the back burner to like optimize a Dragoon build, right? And I'm like, I don't like Dragoon because I don't want to buy it right now until I need it. And it's a droplet format. Yeah. So why would I make Dragoon to get dropleted when I could just make DPE and double scythe lock with dinosaurs? Yeah. So that's nice. But what was your question again? How my approach on deck building?
I think you explained it. You talked about how you deck build, and one of the places you look is Discord.
Yeah, and to build off what Jose said to optimize or tailoring it to your fit. One of my friends in New York, Ray, he dislikes hand traps, and the first time I heard that, I was just like, what? Like,
I hate hand traps.
You don't like hand traps? Like, how do you win? And then I saw him play, and then I'm just like, oh, you just sit down, you look at your opponent, and just like, I'm just better than you. Like, wow. Basically. And I see, and like, he'll either like play no hand traps or like a droplet or like dark ruler or like a nib. Like, it's the stuff that's like, it's like equalizes it, and then he just plays because he just understands the game, and that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'll play hand traps, but for me to like jump into a deck, and this is kind of like answering your question and helping someone else listening to. When you sit down and make a deck, when I sit down and make a deck, I don't sit down and be like, what deck plays 12 hand traps? Yeah, or like I don't sit down and be like, my deck needs 3 ash. I'll build from there. It's like. For dinos, I'll put the staples, the core, the starters, and then I'm like, okay, what's in the meta? So right now I'm on 4 hand traps because I want monsters to draw off DPE, off Dasher and Summon, and then extend my play, advance my game state, or I just want something that's just like, and this is my own personal thing too. Depending on what variant of Dino I'm playing, this is for Dino because I guess I think I've kind of mastered the deck. I definitely have more than 10,000 hours in the deck. So when I sit down and build, I think I just lost my train of thought. Yeah. So my dinosaur theory, right? Like there's certain ratios I like to have in my deck. So when I was on when Sword Soul was big, I was like, okay, this format I like 20 monsters, 20 spells, topped with that. I like. Now it's like, okay, my deck right now has 23 monsters, 17 spells. And it's just like a weird thing in my head. I'm like, okay, I know I have these many spells, it's just straight gas. And I don't like playing more than 42. I think I'll wrap it up with that. Like more than 40 is a sin. We're not playing more than 40 here, but people who play more than 40, they're better than me. More power to you, but I don't want to sit down and not play the game because I bricked. I want to lose because I'm bad, not because of my deck building.
That's fair.
That is fair. How do I deck build? If I'm being honest, I net deck everything I play.
There's
and
nothing
then,
wrong with that.
Totally fine.
yeah, and then once I'm comfortable with it, then of course, like my side deck it's always different from whatever I net deck, because net decking, like their side deck is based on their locals or wherever it is that they where they played. It's not gonna like apply to every like situation, scenario, local, regional, whatever. But once I'm comfortable with, like the I guess how the deck plays, then I like move things around and add things, remove
Optimize
things.
it.
Yeah. Optimize it to my own liking, right?
Yeah.
Not even like optimizing to like the best ability, but to my own liking. And I think that, I mean, that's how I learned how to play it. Like honestly, like for as far back as I can remember, even before like I came back to play Yu-Gi-Oh, like I was net decking. Even I guess before if it was a thing.
I mean, we have a very similar approach. I do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
That's just, I mean, I feel like that's just the way to do it, because you're advancing the amount of time that you would spend in even just finding out what a core is, like what the standard is.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I mean, being honest, like I don't think I'm like a great player. I think I'm a decent player, but I can't. I don't think that I have the ability. Well, I don't think that I've tried to like deck build, and I don't think I want to.
That's better self-talk.
I was gonna say, keeping track at home. We got our first negative self-talk of the game.
No, he did a better job.
Yes,
he turned it around.
Yes.
Counter number one.
Yeah, I think that it similar to both Joseph and George. I think part of this is because of the rotation of decks that we do. I think I use YouTube as a huge resource. I won't even necessarily look for the most amount of views. I'll look for like what did the event actually look like? So like looking at a locals versus looking at a regionals versus looking at a YCS. Again, fully recognizing that those are very different audiences for what is
I
happening.
never even thought about that. What?
Yeah,
I just look at their side deck, like, oh, they're playing this because of this. But I never thought about the actual event.
Sure, yeah. You're like, because like at our locals, like I'm not going to expect to get DP Scythelock twice consistently because like as much as people are going to try and do it, you're not playing the same caliber of player at the locals versus like a YCS where those people, they're a lot like Kosi where it's like they're not thinking about how to play their deck. They're thinking about how you're playing your deck and responding to that. So I think when I deck build, I think a lot about I need to know what I'm doing. And if I'm going to add in a spicy tech, I have to recognize that I have to change the way that I play because you're not going to, like, it's not going to be the same thing. Like, if I'm going to, with the mechs, I was playing, like, Nightmare Corruptor Ibli, which is a very useful card, and I really like it. But at the same time, if I draw Ibli and Girsu, now my immediate first play is not just normal summon Girsu. It's I have to think about what is the better play here. Is it better to and then I think about what my opponent's playing. So like if I'm playing Sword Soul, I'm gonna summon Ibli because you're gonna have to commit so many resources to get that token off the field. But then that means I don't have a World Legacy card in graveyard or a monster in graveyard for follow up the next turn. So it's just thinking about when I'm deck building, I'm like, I need to remember what I want to do and what my deck should be doing versus what is sort of the spicy thing that if it goes off, it's great, but I'd rather it consistently do what I need it to do.
And so piggybacking off deck building, I know George mentioned side decking. What are your guys' thoughts and advice on building a side deck aside from just understanding the event you're going to, not just the meta?
Well, I think there's always going to be a staple, even for a side deck. Whether you think about, am I going first or am I going second? What does my deck want to do first? Like, for example, your dinosaur deck, it's really good at going second. So you're going to have your going first cards maybe in the side deck because you already want to go second. So then when you win game one, because you went second, you're going to want to catch your opponent in surprise and be like, oh, I'm going to put in my cards to go in first. and then I'm gonna go first.
Yeah, that was probably my strategy during the board breaking format, like Sword Soul. But now, like I have actually, contrary to popular belief, I have a hard time going second this format because the boards are so. I could. It's not impossible,
Right.
but usually it's like like I said, I play 4 hand traps and panker tops, so it's like they build best board. And if I'm not breaking best board, it's tough because I have to think like, do I try and break board and then they see what I'm playing and then they side deck for me, or do I just scoop? And that's the conundrum I'm in right now.
George, how do you side deck?
So I guess just to kind of like piggyback off of Joseph, like I side deck just based on like what I'm playing and you know, whether I'm gonna go first or second, whether I'm gonna like surprise my opponent and let them go. If they think that I'm going to make them go second or go first, just kind of like, you know, surprise them with some cards. And yeah, I mean, it all depends. For me, it all depends on what I'm playing.
Yeah, like if your deck really loses to, let's say, Nibiru, like that's the only card your deck loses to, then you're going to want to put a card that will stop Nibiru.
Right.
No, that's fair.
What about you, Mel?
I think when I'm thinking about side deck, and I think this is a tip that's helpful for a lot of people. And Kosi, I imagine you'll talk about this as well. Recognize that just because you put a deck in your card in your side deck does not mean you're going to see it. So do not rely heavily on that. Like in the current format, right, like what I think a lot of newer players will do, because I did this, is like they're incredibly powerful one-ofs, like Red Reboot. Harpy's Feather Duster, really powerful cards that it's like, this is a blowout card if I get it. I also run 40 cards and I have one of this card.
You have like a
non-searchable card.
11% chance.
Yeah, this one non-searchable card that I need to draw in order to stop the board. So recognizing that your side deck doesn't have to account for every single weakness of your deck, because no deck is going to be able to do that.
Yeah, right. Back into deck building.
Yes.
So your main deck. I mean, side decking is important. It's probably the most important part of the game because you play 2/3 of your matches.
2/3 of your matches in side deck.
Exactly, most of the time. So yeah, you got to make sure your deck building is on point.
Your deck has and that's kind of what I was alluding to. You need to know what your main deck is good at and what it struggles with. Build your side deck or side in based on that, with the side deck also accounting for what is going to happen in the current event that you're in.
Yeah, perfect segue, because I was thinking the same thing. Like what Jose said, my deck is dinosaurs. Like what the YCS topping list was, go second dinosaurs. It was just I have Doggerant, I have Lightning Storm. I'm gonna vomit on your chest and then just kill you. And if I don't kill you, I'm gonna rip your extra deck, make a Dueler, make a Doka, and you're gonna cry. Cry in prehistoric. But the thing is, even though it's good at going second, I know that to kind of go against what Jose said, I know my deck is all right going second, but 12 of my 15 card side deck are go second cards. I think my only go first card, I mean, I'm going to tell the group now, they're going to know, but it's Solemn Judgment. Solemn Judgment is probably the best go first card, because my deck, if I get stopped, I'm DPE pass plus a Solemn is enough. Sometimes, most of the time, that's sometimes. But yeah, like I know my deck is good going first, and this is a good philosophy, I believe. You know your deck is good going first. That means it's weak going second. So make your side deck go second. Yeah. So you know that, okay, if I go second, I at least have a chance to play the game. Like I said, I want to lose because I'm bad, not because of a suboptimal deck building, you know?
No, that's fair. And I think one thing that I try and listen to a lot, and mechs are slightly different because we're, for the most part, blind go second. But you talked about how many cards you side in, and it's important to remember, like, again, your main deck ratios. Like, your side deck should not get in the way of what your deck is supposed to do.
Exactly, yeah. And I think the most recent person I heard talk about this was GGYGO. Shout out him.
Yep.
But it's funny because the first person I heard this from was Simo. I think Simo said 5 is a good number. Gigi said 6. I like 6 better because the math makes more sense. Yeah. You'll have a little over a 50, I think closer to 60% chance of seeing one, high 50s, as opposed to 5, you have a 50% chance. But off that, like, if you know that, like I say, if your deck's weak going second, just go second cards. And you don't want to overside too.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's always a struggle. Just like if you put too many in, you're gonna affect the way that your deck goes.
Yeah, you draw like 20 hand traps and then you don't have an engine and you just don't play the game.
And and then one thing too, I think like again, Simo and Gigi were very good at this. If you go first, take out your hand traps. If you go second, take out go first cards. You know, take out cards that don't help your engine. And one more thing too, I think Billy Brake didn't say this in a video. I think he said, I was watching a random like YCS commentator.
Yeah.
And Billy Brake is a legend. He was just like, when I side, because Billy Brake was a good player, don't get me wrong, but I think where he thrived was the fact that he just understood his opponent, not just the deck, but like he made these reads and all that stuff. And that
he was
still very
smart. Like
it's still very important in the game, making those reads. So what he did, I think he said, you just take your 15 card side deck, shuffle it into your deck, take out 15 cards. So your opponent doesn't know how much you put in. And yeah, it's a good little mind game, you know?
It is, yeah. Well, we appreciate all of you listening. We're going to cut it here. Again, a nice, clean episode. We are the heart of the podcast. I'm Mel.
I'm Kosi Joseph.
Joseph.
Sure.
George.
And we'll see you next time.
See ya.